Good morning, class 12 students. This is the fifth part of the chapter, the rat trap. So, before we move on to our today's session, let's discuss the portion we covered in the last four videos. So, as you're aware, the chapter rat trap, it is a story about a rat trap seller who, he leads a very poor life, and he sells rat trap in order to survive, but his earning is very low, and that is why he resorts to petty thievery and begging to to survive. And he has never been treated with love. He's all alone, and he lives a very lonely life, and that is why he has developed a pessimistic attitude towards life and people. So he's always he makes various kinds of thoughts, and one of these thoughts is of supposing the whole world as a big rat trap. And he believes that the world offer us you know uh, various comforts. It offers us baits in the form of comforts of life, like riches, like luxury, money, and all that stuff. So it is kind of all these stuff are like bait. So this is where we see the use of figure of speech simile, and also we see the metaphor in rat trap, right? So this in return traps us into the rat trap of the world and lead us to various types of mysteries. This is what his uh, belief is, that this whole world is a rat trap, and it offers us uh, various comforts in the form of bait, and that's how it tries to trap us. So the one who gets tempted, the rat trap shut upon them. Uh, the world closes for him. So so you could actually see him moving here and there, selling rat trap. That is why the author has used so many adjectives for him, like vagabond, tramp, peddler, sailor, ragamuffin, and all these words, and wanderer, right? So one night when he was he was when he was walking along the roadside, and it was too late at night. So he started looking for shelter, and he found a cottage along the roadside. It was a little cottage. So he knocked, and he was welcomed by an old crofter, right? And the old crofter offered him utmost hospitality. He gave him food, he gave him tobacco, and he also entertained him. They played majolus, and he also shared his private matters with the rat trap seller. And he told him that he was once a crofter at Ramsey Iron Work, and when his body could no longer take the exhausting work, he gave up. And then now and then after that, he was supported by his cow. So his cow gives enough milk, and he takes the milk to creamery, and that's how he has managed to earn 30 chrono rupees. And this is what he showed too. And so he showed his saved money to the peddler. And as you're already aware, the rat trap seller, he is not just a seller, he also happens to be a thief. So the next morning, when they left, the peddler came, and he stole the crofter's money, which he had earned by selling his cow's milk, right? And just to keep himself safe, the peddler, he took the path through the forest, right? And it was a very it was not a main thoroughfare, right? It was a secluded. So and the reason he chose the path, because he was afraid of being caught. So he went through the forest, and then he could not find his way out, because it was a very dense forest. And he started moving in circle. He was exhausted and tired, and he sat down under the tree. And he knew that he was on the verge of death. And he came to this he had this realization that he himself had fallen for the trap, right? Because according to him, the whole world is a rat trap, and it offers us various kinds of baits in the form of, rich, money, luxury, comfort, and all, uh, and many more things, right? But he himself has fallen. He has himself fallen for this trap, and when so at this moment he heard, he heard some noise. It's a he heard some noise, and noise was coming from a nearby iron mill, and he at once realized that there was a way out of the dense forest. So he went, he head on towards the direction of sound, and he reached this Ramzo iron mill, and then he entered, and that time, uh, the blacksmith, he was working there. He did not pay any attention to the peddler, because it was very common to find, to find poor people looking for shelter during the winter to this mine. So and the peddler, he asked permission to stay inside the Ramzo iron mill, and the blacksmith, he did not even he gave his permission just by nodding his head. He did not even utter a single word. And then what happened? Uh, he went across the furnace to have the warmth of the furnace, and to feel warm, and we could actually see the water vaporizing out of you know his wet and damp cloth. And those days, the mine, the Ramzo Iron Work, it was owned by the iron master, and he would pay visit to his iron mill every day, because his ambition was to supply the best iron to yes to to many people, right? And to many places. So that is why he kept on visiting his iron mill every he visited he frequently visited his Ramzo iron mill. And that day when he arrived, he found this man, the peddler, and he mistook him as Nils Olaf, his his old comrade, his old friend, his old acquaintance. So the peddler, he also pretended to be Nils Olaf, because he thought that he would get something in return, maybe some money. So now it's time for us to continue the remaining part. Let me just highlight the paragraph for you. Okay. Okay, now I think this is the portion. This is where we are supposed to start from. The man with the rat traps had never before seen the Iron Master at Ramzo, and did not even know what his name was, but it occurred to him that if the fine gentleman thought he was an old acquaintance is, someone who is known to you, he might perhaps throw him a couple of kronor. Therefore, he did not want to undeceive him all at once. So he also feigned. He also pretended to be one of his acquaintance, and he thought that he would get some money in return. Yes, God knows things have gone downhill with him, he said, and he gave his reason that he had difficult times. You should have resigned from the regiment, said the Iron Master. That was a mistake. If only I had still been in the service at this time, it would never would have happened well. Now, of course, you will come home with me. So the peddler, the Iron Master, he suggested him that he should have resigned from the regiment. And the peddler, he pretended, and he told him that actually it was a mistake. He did resign from the regiment, and it was his biggest mistake, because after that things went downhill, right? And he had to face lots of ups and downs. And so now we see that the Iron Master, he's insisting the peddler who he believes that he is one of his acquaintance, right, to come to his house, to go along up to the manor house, uh, be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade, that however did not please the tramp. So uh, the iron master, he wants to invite his old regimental comrade to his house, but the tramp, the vagabond, the rat trap seller, he is not happy. He doesn't find, and he doesn't think that it is a good idea, because the reason is, he has stolen 30 kroner rupees, and he has also realized that he has fallen into this into the trap. So it means, you know this will continue. I mean, the world and this rat trap will offer him more bait, right, in the form of, in form of anything, right? And he just pretended to be an old comrade, because he thought that, just by pretending, the iron master would give him some money, seeing and considering his condition, that he was living in a very terrible condition, right? But we on the contrary, the regiment the iron master, he did not offer him any money, although rather he invited him to his house. So let's see what happens. Is he going to accept his proposal or not? No, I could not think of it, he said, looking quite alarmed. He and At once the peddler said no, and he was alarmed. It means there was no way he was going to go to his house, the peddler. He thought of the 30 kroner to go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. Obviously, he cannot go to his iron master's home, because it will be like throwing yourself into the lion's den when you know that you have stolen something and you cannot go uh, to his house, right? To iron master's house. So let's see what happens. What happened next? He only wanted a chance to sleep here in the forge and then sneak away as inconspicuously, without seeing by anyone as possible. So uh, what was what was Peddler's intention? His intention was to spend the night in the Ramzo iron mill, and then to leave the next morning, right? And yes, to sneak away means to just to leave the place without being noticed, right? So the iron master assumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. And what iron master is thinking, according to him, the reason the peddler is saying no, the peddler is denying his invitation, because the peddler is not in good condition. He's wearing shabby clothes, and maybe that is why he's hesitant. That is what is iron master's opinion. Please don't think that I have such a fine home that you cannot show yourself there. He said, Elizabeth is dead, as you may already have heard. My boys are abroad, and there is no one at home except my oldest daughter and myself. We were just saying that it was too bad if we didn't have any company for Christmas. Now come along with me, help us make the Christmas food disappear a little faster. So now we get to know about the family of the Iron Master. Iron Master, he had a wife. She's dead, and he has got two sons. They're abroad, and now he is living with his, you know, eldest uh, eldest daughter. Uh, you know her name is not mentioned yet, but her name is Elizabeth. Sorry, her name is Edla Wilminson, right? Elizabeth is Iron Master's wife, who is no more. So now come along, and he also told him that because the Christmas was around, so they were badly looking for some company or some guest. So he was so lucky to have found the rat trap seller, whom he think to be an old comrade. But the stranger said no, and no, again no, and the iron master saw that he must give in. He was insisted so many times, but but the rat trap seller, he said no. So he had to he had to give in. The Iron Master had to give in. It looks as though Captain Von Stale preferred to stay with you tonight, he said to the master blacksmith, and turned on his heel. So the Iron Master, he tried everything. He tried to yes, he tried to persuade him, but it didn't turn out to be successful, right? And later, when he gave up, he told the blacksmith that I think the captain Von Stale, it means Nils Olaf. So he also called him by this, Captain Von Stale. So he told the blacksmith, maybe the captain Von Stale wants to stay with you, and then he left. But he laughed to himself as he went away, and the blacksmith, who knew him, understood very well that he had not said his last word. But the blacksmith, the blacksmith was aware that the reason he said no, the reason the peddler said no, it was because the peddler was an impostor. He was somebody else. So it was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheels outside the forge, and a new guest came in. But this time it was the Iron Master's daughter. It was the Iron Master. He had sent his daughter, apparently hoping that she would have better powers of persuasion than he himself. So after half an hour, the iron meal was visited by Edla Wilminson, the Iron Master's daughter. So now she has come in order to pursued in order to insist the peddler to come to their house. She entered, followed by a valet carrying on his arm big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but seemed modest and quite shy. In the forge, everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. So she entered in the scene, and she is being accompanied by a valet, right? Someone who looks after, right, the carriage and the people who are sitting in it. And he's carrying a big fur coat, right? And the lady Edla Wilminson, she is not very pretty, she is not so beautiful, but she is actually an epitome of modesty, and someone who is very quiet, simple and sober, right? So in the meal, everything was as it was as it had been earlier, right? So the blacksmith, his apprentice still sat on their bench, and iron and charcoal still glowed in the furnace, right? So you could actually see that the situation hasn't changed, right? The blacksmith and his apprentice means somebody who is taking lessons, who is learning, who is at the stage of learning, right? So, and the charcoal was still glowing in the furnace. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head, his hat pulled down over his eyes. So at that time, the peddler, he was lying there, and he used the pig iron as as cushion, right? And you could actually see that he used his hat, and he used his hat to cover his eyes, understand, in order to maybe prevent the dazzling glow of the furnace. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up, lifted his hat. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly means suddenly, and seemed to be quite frightened. So when Edla Wilminson, when she saw him, when he saw the peddler who was lying there, she went across him, and she lifted his hat. And the man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye. It may when she lifted the hat, she found that the man was actually sleeping with his one eye closed and one eye open. And when and the man, he was taken aback, and he got frightened. Why did he get frightened? Maybe, because he thought maybe he had been caught, right? My name is Edla Wilminson, said the young girl. My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the forge tonight. Then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. I am sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time, right? So she told him that her name was Edla Wilminson, and her father told her that Captain Von Stale, one of his old regimental comrade, he was at the iron mill, and he wanted to stay there. So she says that now I have come here in order to ask you to spend a night with us and spend Christmas with us, right? She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid either he has stolen something or else he has escaped from jail. So, Edla Wilmanson, she has so much compassion, right? And she is actually a very modest girl. And when she saw the man, and she she realized, she came to this conclusion that the man was afraid, and she presumed that maybe he had stolen something or he had escaped from the jail. So children, that's all for today's session. In we will be completing this chapter in the next session, in the sixth part of this chapter. So that's all for today. In case you have any questions, you can ask in the live class, and in case you want to approach me before the live class, you know how to contact me. Please do your homework. Always do not skip it, because you cannot afford to miss your lectures, and please do watch the video from the beginning to the end. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. See you in the next class.